As a CEO and founder, molding yourself as a leader, what are some recommendations for those who are in this space, may have had some experience to improve on their quality of leadership, on leading? Because leading and managing, I know to be different. What can you provide for those who've been in this space and are looking to tweak, what's happening within their business, but connecting that to their overall life?
One of the things that quote from John Maxwell is company is capped by its leader's potential or a leader's skills. So, I'm a big proponent of reading. There's a ton of leadership books diving into that process. I would also say leadership in part is who around you is a great leader that you look up to, because you're going to start seeing things they do. So when the Redeem team, I think in 2004, we didn't, the US, we didn't win the Olympics. There was LeBron came back, but he was older now. Carmelo, Dwayne Wade, I believe at that time, but the big recruit was Kobe. And so Kobe Bryant, when they went in, and LeBron, Carmelo Anthony, and so many players said they learned so much from being around Kobe Bryant because his work ethic was something that they didn't realize was possible or should be done, in the way how early he showed up to the gym, how hard he went. And that raised all of their games. And you can see the difference in terms of the rise and trajectory of LeBron before Kobe in the Olympics and after Kobe in the Olympics in terms of the skill level and rising. So what I would say is trying to, even if you're great in your own right, trying to be around people who are amazing leaders. You'll start seeing the things they do, how they approach things, how they prepare, right? How they react. And that's something that you can skim or borrow to utilize in your own business.
So essentially, you're saying to be around leaders or that you can model, and
Yeah.
also including, just taking care of your mind in terms of reading and educating yourself on books and podcasts or things of that nature.
And I want to push a little bit past you can model, because LeBron could have modeled off Carmelo. He could model Dwayne Wade. People who are at the top, right? As close to the top as you can get. People who are at the top, so you can really watch, how do I need to prepare to get to that level? How do I need to think to get to that level? Because you're already around great leaders, right? But can you get around people who are one or two levels up or 3 or 5 levels up? And that's going to really change what you're doing and how you do it.
So it sounds like there's a lot of discipline and consistency that will be required of me to learn that new skill, especially if I want to model who that top person is.
That is what's going to be required, but even more so when you do that, they'll show you how they create that discipline. Because Kobe didn't go out to party with the rest of the
Mm.
guys, right? When you say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And the more Kobe said, no, discipline a lot is about saying no, right? Saying no to this so you can have that time and energy to do that. And they'll start showing you, and you get pushed and you kind of get forced to do what they're doing, because that's the only way you can be around them. You're not going to play around. They're not going to have certain people. So now it seems it's so difficult at first, but then it starts becoming a routine, a habit, right? And a part of your way of life. And now you're really accelerating and your whole circle changes. And the impact you have is greater, because now the people who you were influencing before, they're looking at you and they're like, oh, wow, I saw how she came from X to Z, and I want to emulate that.
How do you manage time as you are running business? In my case, I'm a mom, wife, mentor. What are some of the ways that you can recommend? Because there's a lot of things that I realize that I don't do, by nature of my lifestyle that I'm creating. But how do you really navigate those specific spaces and still, manage time and try to build the multi-trillion dollar business and empire that we are creating? Any advice?
Somebody said something that really stuck with me. He said, you don't manage time, you manage activities. There's several ways to go about this. One thing to know is I still cope with this and try to figure out, but multitasking doesn't work as well as we think it does. We're just quickly switching in between tasks. And the issue with that is you don't get to build momentum, focus on something. Then time blocking. Are you time blocking in terms of, okay, can I focus on this issue or this thing I have to do and give myself time to build momentum? So does that take an hour? Does that take a day? Does that take a week? And being able to focus in on things that are really going to move you, your business, your life forward. That leads into number 2, which is prioritization. Something me and my team, we always talk about is what's our Pareto principle? What is the 20% of things we need to do that will achieve 80% of the results? And knocking that, knowing that statistic and that principle, and how can we focus on that? What is our 20% we need to focus on? And you'll start seeing, okay, do I really need the other 20%? But even if you break that principle down, it gets a little bit more crazy, because out of that 20%, you can do 20 of that 20, which is 4% gets you 64% of the results. What do we really need to focus on? And how can I prioritize that and do that first? Utilize that to move myself, my business, my life forward. And we can dive into any of these, but I will give you another thing that really opened my eyes. There's something called golden hour or golden hours. And during this time, you are 2 to sometimes 5x as productive. For some people, that's early morning. Some people, that's late night. Some people, that's 2 o'clock. But there's a specific time frame where you are either multiple or exponentially more productive. For me, that's early morning. I can be 4 to 5x time more productive between, let's say, 5 to 9:30 a.m. than I am the rest of the day. So if I'm 4 to 5x, that's 16 hours of productive work that I can get done, because I see how quickly I move, how sharp I am, the type of decisions I make. I can just work that time and not work any other time in the day and really knock things out. Some people have shorter windows, some people have longer windows. Sometimes it's not, I don't get all that for. Sometimes I have 1 hour out of it. But understanding that and utilize, and not giving that golden hour to things that are not high impact. So during that time, that breakout time, you are saving that time and you are guarding it off from everything, possibly for the things that are most impactful to you and your business.